Well, Michigan, they have a pretty big, well, they have a game this week against Nebraska. And I believe Greg will be joining us here soon. And I remember vividly last year, the Nebraska week talking with Greg, and he was just adamant. He's like, I really think that Nebraska's going to keep this game close. And at that point, Nebraska wasn't doing anything great as far as winning those games, but they were keeping a lot of the games close. It was just kind of mind boggling. So I wonder how this game is going to look this week, and I don't know. I'm interested to hear what Greg has to say about it. But as far as is your thoughts on it, do you think it is going to be, a close game like last year, or do you think this will be a Rutgers from last week just a rerun?
I think we're somewhere in between. So, for as good a season as Michigan was having at this point last year, and Nebraska, again, like you say, playing well, being competitive, but continuing to lose, Michigan was a pretty slight favorite in that game. I don't remember what the spread was, but it was, I think, considerably less than a touchdown, like four or something like that. And it's 29. I think that shows us where Vegas is on this. And for anybody that calls me up and thinks, I hear this all the time, that we should be determining playoff spots based on what Vegas thinks. I do not subscribe to that theory at all. However, so they're going to think I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I do think that Vegas is accurate. I do think that Vegas knows what it's talking about and gives strong indication as to beyond the record and what seems obvious to the rest of us, gives us a look into it. That doesn't mean that they should be selecting playoff participants, but 29, I think Michigan is going to lay waste to Nebraska, but not obliterate them. I see this maybe in a 38-17 range, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can honestly say I haven't watched much Nebraska. And I believe it's Mickey Joseph. Is that the interim
Yeah.
coach right now? So I can't say that I know how well they've been doing. Looks like they are, was that a three
The
game
three.
losing
Yeah.
streak?
Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of, a bit tough. Lost to Minnesota last week, 20-13. The way that I look at Michigan is they are, to me, they're kind of on the freight train status where if you can't match up front, and I almost look at Georgia in similar lights, is if you don't have the horses up front, on O line and D line, you're just gonna have a long day. And I think that run game for Michigan, it's one of those things where you can have Blake Corum in there, you can have Donovan Edwards in there, and even sometimes with JJ McCarthy, I just think it's going to be a really difficult team to stop, and I think that Michigan will have probably pretty similar game to last week of kind of the 52-17 variety, something in that range. I just think they're just gonna have success on the ground, and I think when they do throw it, they'll probably also have success, and I think they'll go for more deep balls. You started to see a little more of that last week. I know they didn't connect on all of them, but I feel like that'll be more of a focus that they'll try to implement in the offense these last couple weeks going into the Ohio State game.
Nebraska was a much more capable offensive team when Casey Thompson, the transfer quarterback from Texas, was in the lineup, and they were playing awful defense, scoring a lot of points, losing high scoring games. And he's been out the last 2 weeks. So they scored 9 against Illinois. I
Hmm.
saw probably half that game. They were dismal trying to throw the football. The same thing last week against Minnesota. Their quarterbacks were like 12 of 28 for not much yardage. So without Casey Thompson, not that I would think that they would win with him, but it would be a more entertaining game to watch. But I don't believe he's going to be back. Maybe we'll find out from Greg.
Yeah, because that opening week, I feel like he looked pretty impressive. And yeah, just the injury bug, which has been his issue throughout his college career, and he just unfortunately can't seem to stay healthy. Whether it's I think it was a thumb or something
Yeah.
or shoulder, so he's had some issues. So that's unfortunate that he keeps getting banged up, and you'd like to see him hopefully get healthy. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think had he been in the game, it definitely would provide some challenges because I think he's got some mobility to him. I don't think he's a scrambling quarterback, but I think he definitely can move around, can run. So I think that would provide a bit of a different challenge for Michigan. But as I said with what game was it? Oh, when the Michigan State game, you can't think you're just gonna be back there and just kind of Johnny Manziel and running all around with this Michigan D line. These guys are good. They're gonna get pressure, and if you think you're gonna kind of run around and circle around, Patrick Mahomes' thing, you're gonna you're gonna find big number 90 Mike Morris or Oki, coming to give you a big hug, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna hurt. So you definitely got to be careful, be disciplined when you're back there at quarterback.